Hi, this is John Webb with his good friend Tony on Icon Fetch.
Welcome to Icon Fetch, the web's premier music interview show. Now, here's your host, Tony Peters.
Welcome to Icon Fetch. I am Tony Peters. Now, when you're ranking the best Christmas records of all time, the Ventures Christmas album is definitely near the top of the list. Now, not only is it incredibly clever, the way the guys used current songs of the 1960s and morphed them into holiday classics, but it's also a whole lot of fun to listen to as well. Now, Real Gone Music has just reissued the classic album in remastered form, and for the first time, the set includes both the stereo version and the much sought-after mono version as well. And from Real Gone Music, we welcome in Gordon Anderson. Gordon, good to talk to you, man.
It's good to be here.
Fantastic. Now, with this album, it has come out, the Ventures album has been out in a couple other configurations. So how did this project come about for Real Gone?
Well, it's actually it's kind of a funny story because we were just all set to reissue the original stereo album that's been out a million times, admittedly, but it's such a classic that it should never go out of print in any form, be it CD or LP. But then we actually, at Real Gone Music, we've always been sort of a populist reissue label, and we welcome suggestions from customers. We have a very active suggestion box on our website, and I encourage anybody who has a reissue idea to go to our website and hit the Real Gone suggestion link and go ahead and send me an idea. We look at all of them. But anyway, a customer suggested that, because they caught wind that we were going to do a reissue the stereo version, and because there's actually, believe it or not, there's a websites that are devoted to nothing but Christmas music, which is an interesting,
All right,
interesting little niche. But
right.
A customer suggested that we do the mono version along with the stereo version, and this came right before we were about to go in production. So it was such a great idea that I frantically contacted Universal Music, from whom we licensed the album, because it was on Dolton, which was originally owned by EMI, and then Universal bought EMI a few years ago. So I frantically contacted them and said, "Hey, can we do this? And we change the pricing? And can you find the master?" And to their credit, my contact at Universal, Gene Skarowitz, made it all happen, and we got it out both in the stereo and mono form.
Fantastic. And from what I gathered, this is the very first time that the mono edition of this has ever been put on CD, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And what's fun about it is it really is a different listening experience, because one of the things about Ventures albums in general, and this one in particular, the stereo has got really wide separation.
Yep.
Super wide.
Yep.
In fact, people, I think of the liner notes, I mentioned, Phil Kopp's liner notes mentioned that, guitar players, because that wide separation, would play along with, they'd knock out one channel and try to play the other channel, But the mono, of course, is just a much more monolithic, straight down the middle sound, and so it's a really, really different animal.
Yeah. I mean, it's mixed. The mix is different. I think some of the percussion and like the little like jingles and everything going on seem to be louder in the mono mix kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's like hearing this album. It's a fresh take on it. It's like, wow, I imagine that, the copy that I have even on LP is a stereo copy. So, I imagine the mono is fairly rare even in that form. So,
the only drawback about the original Christmas album was that it was 28 minutes.
Right.
So now you're at least getting, a fairly full-size helping of Ventures Christmas. And the thing about it is that as you pointed out in your introduction, that the songs are so inventive that you don't mind hearing it twice in a row.
No, not at all.
It's great.
Yeah, and I mean, now these days, all across the country, you get these radio stations that will sign on and start playing Christmas music in October, But it seems like you don't hear a lot of the Venture stuff in those rotations. So it's like this is Christmas music for those people that are burned out on Christmas music, I think. It's like it's a fresh take on it, so.
Well, it's definitely the hippest, I would think, pretty much the hippest Christmas music album we've put out. And we put out a lot, so.
Right. Now, when you're putting together something like this, and, you're in the credits as the guy that put this together, do you then go, okay, we got the green light from Universal to do this, and then do you go about, do you get to pick, the guy that does the liner notes, for instance, kind of thing?
That's right. Yeah.
Nice. And so did you have a relationship with Bill Cott before, kind of thing?
Yeah, Bill's written for us on several projects before. And I believe I contacted him and I said, hey, have you ever talked to the Ventures before? And he did have a contact with Don Wilson, the rhythm guitarist. And we got an interview with Don in the notes, which is great. Don's in his mid-80s at this point.
Right, yeah. So when you're looking at the packaging, one of the other things that I think you guys do a really good job of is finding some of this memorabilia, and you've got, other albums from the Ventures you might enjoy. How did you track down that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's original. That's from the original.
Original stuff, right.
We would not have added that ourselves.
Right, okay. And so, when you work a deal with Universal, I mean, they have an archive where that is. You don't have to hunt down that stuff, or?
No, we have to hunt down everything.
Oh, do you really? Wow. Okay.
Well, it depends. And then we go to photo services to find photographs. And in this case, we had to make sure we had the right version of the band because the drummer changed.
Right, yeah.
At the time this record was made. So, and there aren't actually, it was funny because there weren't that many photos out there. But
right.
We did lease a couple of photos for this, I believe, from Getty Images on this one.
So, does this mean that possibly there could be more Ventures titles from Real Gone in the future, or is this kind of just a one-off deal?
Well, I think there could be. There is some other material out there that has not come out, and I actually got contacted by some other people with some other ideas. I don't pretend to be a Ventures expert, and certainly their catalog is so voluminous that you have to be an expert in order to know what you're talking about, because there's been so much stuff that's come out, especially in Japan. As you know, Japan has always been gaga over the Ventures,
right?
And I think a lot of stuff that never came out in the U.S. on CD has come out over there. So you have to sift through everything and figure out what you can do. But yeah, there are a couple other projects. It's not always easy getting the stuff cleared. But yeah, I think it's possible that we will do more Ventures in the future.
Nice. Now, you guys, you used to work. You were a part of Collector's Choice music kind of thing. So, you did that for a while. So then, where did the idea for the Real Gone music label come from?
Well, I spent 17 years at Collector's Choice Music, and there were some corporate changes, and it looked like I wasn't going to be able to do the label anymore, and I was just going to be doing the mail order catalog, which was the initial Collector's Choice Music started out as a mail order catalog. Then I started the label to go along with it, and so I decided that I really wanted to do the label more than I wanted to do the catalog. So I exited Collector's Choice Music, and with the full intention of starting my own reissue label, and that's how it happened.
Right. Okay. So then you once it became apparent that Collector's Choice was going to kind of be concentrating more on the mail order thing, then you were able to put together Real Gone music kind of thing, and then you had a partner with that. You actually got together with some other people to put it together.
That's right. Gabby Castellana, Gabby Castellana, I should say, was running our distribution at Collector's Choice. We had our own independent distribution company that distributed not just Collector's Choice, but other reissue labels like Ace and Cherry Red and Bear Family, etc.
Right.
And so Gabby and I got, decided to start our own reissue label. So I left the company, the old company, first, and Gabby stayed on for a while, and then when the time was right, he jumped ship and joined me, and we're equal partners in the business.
And the interesting thing about what Real Gone does is that you guys, you do a lot of different things when it comes to reissues. I mean, I noticed that there are times when you take, like you had a partnership with Legacy, where you'll take something that sort of already came out on Legacy, and then you kind of have different artwork on it or whatever, and sort of reissue it, kind of thing. And that's been sort of something like, I just got an Eddie Money thing from you guys not long ago. That
Right. That was they did a series of digital only compilations, and they approached us about putting them out physically, and we selected some of them that we thought would be good. And we have partnerships with all three major labels, and then a number of indie licensors, and then we work with artist estates. But our eclecticism is definitely our calling card. I mean, we are not wedded to any single genre, and that's kind of that's sort of an outgrowth from my Collector's Choice music days, where I literally sold just about every pop artist of note in the 20th century up through I guess through up to 1985 maybe.
Right.
And so through that experience, because I've always been a rock and roll guy, and even an indie rock guy in my personal taste, but just that experience of getting to know the repertoire in all these different genres and eras has definitely shaped my approach to the A&R of Real Gone music.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely eclectic. When I get an Eddie Money CD and like a Percy Faith CD in the same package, it's like that's...
Well, my favorite, I'm a fan of alliteration, so when anybody asks me, I say, well, we do everybody from Johnny Mathis to the Germs.
Right, and, that pretty much covers it there, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of like, reissues kind of thing, one of the things I think you guys have been fantastic at is you've had this series of singles collections from the Dunhill archives. You did the Grassroots, you did the Mamas and the Papas, you did like a Steppenwolf kind of thing. Are there more of those on the horizon, possibly?
Boy, I sure hope so. We have proposals in to Universal for some more, and we'll see what happens this year. Hopefully, some of those will come through. We do have one big one in the works, not Dunhill, but I think it's going to come out in early March. But it's the complete Rascals singles.
Oh wow, fantastic!
Which will include not just the Atlantic, but the Columbia singles as well.
Nice. Great. Yeah, I mean, that's the great stuff. And really, like, one listen to some of these singles collections and you realize that, the mono mixes of these were done completely independent of the stereo. And a lot of times you're hearing different stuff in the mono mixes than you ever got in the stereo stuff. So it's good stuff. I love that. So,
well, they're also, I mean, you got to remember, these were, kind of the money mixes for these guys. I mean, they were out to sell a lot of singles. So I think a lot of time was spent on the single mixes.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And for whatever reason, when the CD boom started happening, there was this big push for everything's got to be stereo, and it's great now that we're finally coming back to the mono and going, hey, let's try to preserve these while we still can, kind of thing. So
yeah, so that's the way most people heard the music first.
Right, exactly. So, well, Gordon, I appreciate you talking to us, man. The great new disc just in time for Christmas here, the Ventures Christmas album from Real Gone, and we look forward to more great reissues in 2017, man.
Hey, thanks a lot, and thanks for the time.
Hey, it's Gordon Anderson there from the Real Gone Music record label, and if you're a fan of classic music like I am, I tell you what, those guys are really fighting the good fight. You know, putting out a lot of great reissues, putting albums back in print that haven't been in print for a very long time, and also putting together things that have never happened before, like a complete Mamas and Papas singles collection like they did, where you get the mono mixes, you know, for the first time on CD, the Grassroots, the Steppenwolf, and now the Ventures Christmas album available in the mono and stereo versions as well. So I'm Tony Peters, wishing each and every one of you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, good luck in the new year, and we look forward to bringing you more great interviews in 2017.
You've been listening to Icon Fetch with Tony Peters. Want more great interviews? Head over to iconfetch.com. There, you'll find every interview we've ever done, plus CD reviews, This Day in Music, and a random album of the day. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Who is Tony going to interview next? It could be you. Send what you've got to Tony Peters. Icon Fetch, P.O. Box 292134, Dayton, Ohio 45429. Or email Tony at host@iconfetch.com. Until next time, this is Joe Kelly. Have a great day.